In the flat, forgotten corners of East Yorkshire, where the North Sea wind scours the land and mist clings to the fields like a shroud, some stories refuse to die. They linger in the soil, whispered on the breeze that rattles through ancient hedgerows and moans across the desolate Holderness coast. This is a land of long shadows and longer memories, and here in the quiet parish of Barmston lies the tale of a creature born from darkness and fog, a legend locals once knew simply as the Beast. For generations, the people of this remote landscape have lived by the rhythm of the seasons and the turn of the tide. But there was another rhythm, a darker one, that governed their nights. It began with a feeling, a sudden chill in the air, the unsettling silence when the birds stop singing, the prickling on the back of your neck that tells you you're being watched. Out here you learn to trust that feeling. The first documented whispers of the Barmston Beast date back to the late 18th century, a time when the world was lit by lantern and firelight. Travel between villages was a treacherous affair, especially after dusk, the farm laborer heading home down a muddy track, the lone rider urging his horse through the deepening twilight. These were the people who saw it. They didn't see it clearly, of course. You never did. It was a fleeting glimpse, a shape darker than the night, moving at the edge of their vision. They described a creature of immense size, like a great black dog or a calf, but with a predatory grace that was utterly unnatural. Its most terrifying feature, the one that haunted their dreams, was its eyes, 2 points of light, burning with a cold, malevolent fire, staring out from the gloom. Imagine yourself a farmer in the year 1820. You're checking on your livestock, your lantern casting a small, trembling circle of light in a vast, oppressive darkness. The wind is picking up, carrying the salty temps of the sea and the distant, lonely cry of a curlew. Your horses are restless, stamping and snorting in their stalls, their eyes wide with a fear you cannot see the source of. You walk the perimeter of your field, the wet grass soaking your boots. Suddenly, you stop. There, in the soft earth by the gate, is a print. It's like a dog's, but impossibly large, sunk deep into the mud, as if by a tremendous weight. As you stare, a low growl seems to vibrate through the very ground beneath your feet, a sound that is felt as much as it is heard. You raise your lantern, its light cutting feebly into the fog, but there is nothing there. Only the sighing of the wind and the unnerving feeling that the darkness is looking back. These encounters were never violent. The beast was a specter, a harbinger of dread rather than a physical attacker. It seemed to feed on fear itself. It would parallel travelers on lonely roads, a hulking shadow keeping pace just beyond the reach of their light. It would be seen standing motionless in the middle of a field at moonrise, a silhouette against the horizon that would vanish the moment you looked away. Children were warned not to wander near the marshy grounds or the dense thickets after sunset. The Beast of Barmston became a cautionary tale, a boogeyman to keep the community wary of the encroaching night. The landscape itself is a character in this story. The Holderness coast is one of the fastest eroding coastlines in Europe. Every year the sea claims fields, roads, and the remains of forgotten hamlets. There's a profound sense of impermanence here, of the land itself being consumed by a relentless, indifferent force. This environment of constant decay and loss is the perfect breeding ground for a legend like the Beast. Is it a creature of flesh and blood? Or is it a manifestation of the landscape's own melancholic spirit? A phantom born from the sea fret and the crumbling clay cliffs. Skeptics, of course, offered rational explanations. A large stray dog, perhaps an escaped mastiff or wolfhound, its size and ferocity exaggerated with each retelling, or maybe a case of mistaken identity in the poor light, a calf, a pony, or even a trick of the fog. These explanations make sense in the clear light of day, but when night falls on Barmston and the mist rolls in from the sea, reducing the world to a few feet of visibility, logic begins to feel like a very fragile shield. The human mind is wired to see patterns, to create shapes in the shadows. In the eerie silence of a fog-bound Yorkshire night, it's easy to believe that something ancient and predatory is moving through the gloom. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, and the industrial world brought gas lamps and eventually electricity, the sightings grew less frequent. The old world of lantern light and shadow receded. The tracks became paved roads. The fields were illuminated by headlights. The mystery of the night was pushed back, but never entirely extinguished. The story of the Beast retreated from common talk into folklore, a fireside tale told to spook grandchildren. It became a forgotten legend, buried under layers of modernity. But has it truly gone away? Even today, drive these narrow lanes after dark, when the sea haze is thick and your headlights barely pierce the murk. Stop the car and listen. The silence is profound. It's a heavy, watchful silence. Look at the long grass by the roadside, how it moves and sways. Is it just the wind? Look at the puddles left by the rain, how they reflect the empty sky. But what was that fleeting shape in the reflection? That darker patch in the darkness? The world is not as brightly lit as we like to think. There are still shadows in the corners, quiet places where old fears can take root and grow. The story of the Barmston Beast is a reminder that no matter how much we build, pave and illuminate, we are still surrounded by a vast and ancient wilderness. We are temporary visitors in a landscape that holds secrets far older than we are. And sometimes, on a lonely road at night, when the fog rolls in from the sea, you can almost hear those secrets breathing in the dark. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mists of East Yorkshire. If you find tales from the forgotten corners of the world as fascinating as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more journeys into the unknown. Stay curious, and perhaps, stay out of the fog.